he was a guy who's kind of known as the guy who fell apart.
A quitter a little bit. Yeah.
Cub Swanson knocked him out. A bunch of guys that beat
Max Holloway had like that weird neck thing going on.
Not gonna mess around about it. This no, but and it's like an injured.
Then everybody was calling him a quitter. All this, it's like,
and he just turned a corner and then became the baddest motherfucker in the weight class.
Yeah.
And not just the baddest motherfucker weight class, but one of the best motherfuckers in the sport. When he knocked out Chandler, they beat the shit out of Gaethje. When he was putting it on people, you gotta go, God damn.
Joe Rogan ignited controversy by warning Ilia Topuria that Charles Oliveira's reach and danger could derail his undefeated rise.
Well, here's what's interesting about Charles Oliveira. When Charles Oliveira fights, even though he's the champion, even though he's fights like a berserk, he puts himself in danger. Like, he doesn't fight safe. He doesn't fight to try to outpoint you. From the moment the first bell rings, he's coming at you.
Gaethje.
Guns blazing. And Gaethje was coming at him too, but it's like Gaethje was overwhelmed by Oliveira's pace and his aggression. It's wide. Even when Gaethje cracked him, Oliveira's so different than anybody else. When he gets hit, he just lays on his back.
Yeah.
And it's like, come get some of this. And nobody wants that guard game.
Break.
So it's the most submissions in the history of the sport.
He recovers.
Yes, because nobody wants to go to the ground.
Right.
Joe Rogan sparked controversy after cautioning Ilia Topuria about the serious threat posed by Charles Oliveira, even before their UFC 317 title fight was officially confirmed. Rogan, a longtime UFC analyst and podcaster, didn't hold back in expressing his concern. While he admired Topuria's technical brilliance and described him as a master of movement and timing, Rogan warned that Oliveira's size and reach could create serious problems. The comments came during an episode of his Fight Companion, where Rogan acknowledged the Spaniard's skills, but insisted that Oliveira's danger is often underestimated due to his track record.
There's always danger with Topuria. When he hits you, it's different than anybody, especially with his hands. His boxing is so high level. That left hook he caught Max with, oh my goodness. Oh, just spun his head around. But I like what you were saying, Topuria versus Oliveira.
Your first introduction at 55, he's kind of the king of 55
tall
and dangerous.
So dangerous everywhere, dangerous striking, huge reach advantage.
Yeah. But if you're Topuria, you're not going to go up to 55 without some sort of guarantee. Because remember, he's giving up the belt, so he's not getting pay-per-view points.
But it's his idea.
Well, because the weight cut's too tough.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
As UFC 317 edges closer, fans are finally getting the fight that had been brewing online for months. Topuria and Oliveira had been engaged in a heated back and forth, with tension rising when Islam Makhachev hinted at moving up to the welterweight division, creating space at the top of the lightweight ladder. That's when talks of a possible Topuria-Oliveira showdown gained real traction.
Like, it's not fair for 155.
Right.
But if he move up and he beat somebody like Charles Oliveira, of course.
Yeah.
And I like that. And I think, you know what I think?
Yeah.
I think he can beat him.
Yeah.
Yo, Henry.
Whoa! Tell that ain't fire kush.
Hey, 100%. This is exactly how I feel. Exactly how I feel. Yes, I do believe Ilia Topuria can win that fight. You see it. Charles Oliveira gets hurt in a lot of fights, and he gets dropped in a lot of fights. And so now you throw in a guy like Ilia that doesn't just hurt you, he will get you out of there, that mixes up the attack, goes to the body, goes to the head. I think Ilia is the favorite in that fight. Taking nothing away from Charles Oliveira. Charles is very, very dangerous, and Charles is very, very good. But I think Ilia is a favorite in that fight, and I think 100% he goes out there and he gets through Charles Oliveira. 100%, he's next for that. But Khabib is also right. He fought Volkanovski twice because really there wasn't a clear-cut guy to go in there and fight him. And so people do give him shit for that. Oh, you fought the same guy twice, blah, blah, blah. So, hey, if Ilia is able to go in there and get past Charles Oliveira, I mean, Charles is has mostly almost all the records in that division.
The rivalry between the two fighters had already taken shape long before the fight was officially announced. Topuria, never one to mince words, openly criticized Oliveira's record. He pointed out the Brazilian's double-digit loss count, stating that a fighter with 10 defeats doesn't enter the cage with the same mental strength as someone undefeated. According to Topuria, fighters who have never lost are built differently. They fight until the bitter bitter end and never quit under pressure. In contrast, he claimed that Oliveira tends to fold when adversity hits, often choosing to fall back and wait for the referee's intervention rather than push forward.
Faltaba, he dicho la verdad, tiene 10 derrotas, no he dicho otra cosa. Tiene 10 derrotas, 5 por knockout, 4 por sumisión, 1 por decisión. Dice que es la división más difícil que hay. Cuando él estaba peleando en 145, hasta Cub Swanson le ha metido una paliza. Ahí se tiene que acabar la conversación. Algo que no pudo conseguir en 145 libras, lo consiguió en 155, que se convirtió en campeón del mundo. Entonces, ¿por qué esa división es más difícil que de la que yo vengo? O sea, no le encuentro ninguna lógica, y por eso dije también que parece que no se ha leído ni la hoja de un periódico. Así que si eso es una falta de respeto, yo no sé desde cuándo decir la verdad es una falta de respeto. Yo nunca mezclo lo personal con lo profesional, ¿verdad? No tengo ningún problema con Charles. Seguramente una vez nuestras carreras se hayan acabado, podamos estar juntos, pasar un buen rato, cenar, comer, lo que haga falta, pero esto es un deporte, ¿sabes? Dentro de un octógono.
The fight, now set for June 28th at UFC 317, is being framed as a major moment for both fighters. For Topuria, it's an opportunity to make a massive impact in just his second bout in the lightweight division, following his decision to vacate his featherweight title earlier in 2024. That move came after he scored dominant knockout wins over legends like Alexander Volkanovski and Max Holloway, 2 victories that instantly elevated his status in the UFC. His power at featherweight was already impressive, but after knocking Holloway out cold, Topuria made the leap up to 155 pounds, claiming he felt more comfortable without the strain of intense weight cuts.
So with this extra 10 pounds, how much better do you think you'll be able to perform inside the octagon?
You are going to see me at 155 that I'm going to touch someone and I'm going to take his lights out. I don't need to touch his chin. I just touch his head and it will explode. I feel so powerful at that weight class, so stable in the ground. Like, do you want to wrestle? Let's wrestle. No problem. And I have the gas tank for 5 days, not 5 rounds.
Meanwhile, for Oliveira, this fight represents a potential comeback to the top of a division he once ruled. He first captured the lightweight title back in 2021 with a TKO victory over Michael Chandler at UFC 262 and successfully defended it against Dustin Poirier before losing the belt to Islam Makhachev at UFC 280. Since then, Oliveira's path has been a roller coaster. He bounced back with an emphatic first-round finish of Beneil Dariush at UFC 289, but suffered a close split decision loss to Arman Tsarukyan at UFC 300. He recovered once again with a win in a grueling 5-round war against Chandler in a rematch, marking his last fight before the Topuria booking.
I typically look at, when you get 2 guys like these 2 that are very, very good, then you start looking at their defensive responsibilities and who has the larger deficiency. That's 100% Charles Oliveira. He's so hittable. Yeah. He loves to fight into wars. Ilia Topuria does not engage in bullshit. He's super crisp, very, very clean boxer, but goes to the body well, leg kicks really well, so strategic and so well thought out, and has an incredibly high fight IQ. I just don't know how Charles Oliveira stays safe in any kind of striking range, fighting the way that he fights with Ilia Topuria. I just think that he's going to get hit hard. He's going to get hurt. And I don't know that he can take down Ilia Topuria. And if he did, I don't know that he would out-grapple him anyway.
The announcement of the UFC 317 title bout drew mixed reactions from the MMA community. Some, like Josh Thompson, questioned why Oliveira got the nod over Tsarukyan, who is currently the #1 contender. Thompson pointed out that with Makhachev leaving the division, the path should have been cleared for Tsarukyan to fight for the vacant title. However, the UFC ultimately decided to go with Oliveira, much to the frustration of Tsarukyan and his fans. Thompson said, "This is what I want to know. How did you end up with Charles and not Arman Tsarukyan? He's the #1 contender. I can understand them UFC being upset, but now that Islam is gone, that fight has disappeared. He's still the #1 contender. Ilia coming up, guaranteed or promised the title shot. I just want to see the 2 guys from Georgia fight." Tsarukyan, who beat Oliveira at UFC 300 and had been vocal about his readiness for a title shot, expressed disappointment that he was sidelined. His frustration wasn't just about being skipped over for the belt. It extended to how difficult it has been for him to find opponents. In recent months, he's even gone after names like Paddy Pimblett online, threatening to dismantle the British fighter if they ever shared the cage. Sarukian believes both Oliveira and Justin Gaethje have been avoiding him, and now that the title fight has been set without him, he's made his feelings very clear.
Why does nobody want to fight you, Armin?
Right now, because it's a dangerous fight and I don't have a title. And so Oliver wants to fight for the title. Everybody wants to fight for the title. And when the title fight gonna book, and then I'm gonna get the fight.
Are they gonna give you the title fight?
Depends. If Islam gonna move to 170, yeah, they gotta give me interim title with somebody.
Despite all the noise around the matchmaking, Oliveira himself is laser focused. After receiving the news, he described the emotional moment to Brazilian media, saying that he learned about the fight just after finishing training. His phone was flooded with messages, and his team erupted in celebration. With 46 days to prepare at the time of the announcement, Oliveira declared that the belt was going to return to where it should have never left. He made it clear that his attention isn't on Topuria's past performances, but rather on what his own team can do to develop a winning strategy. Oliveira admitted that while Topuria is a tough opponent, he is confident in his own striking ability and experience. He emphasized that his focus is internal, on his preparation, his weapons, and what he brings into the octagon.
And everyone started yelling, the kids screaming and all that. Training had just ended and so on. I grabbed the phone, saw thousands of messages, went straight to Diego. That's it. Let's go. We're ready. 46 days. 46 days for this belt to return where it never should have left. We'll focus on what matters, stay sharp, and make it happen. I'm not fixated on their moves, but on what we can bring and take. My team will map out Topuria so we can plan our game. My focus is what I'll bring to the fight. We're more than ready and prepared for this fight, right? Tough opponent, but I know my power. I'll go all in, fulfill my promise, and get that belt.
Although Oliveira hasn't been immune to criticism, particularly around his chin, he continues to believe in his firepower. Fighters like Aljamain Sterling have pointed out that Oliveira has been dropped in nearly every recent fight and has suffered multiple TKO losses throughout his career. Sterling even referenced Oliveira being rocked by Michael Chandler and argued that if Topuria lands clean shots, it could be lights out for the Brazilian.
I like Ilya in this one. I don't know. But it's hard to count out Dubronx. Dubronx is, I still think he's him. But then I said that about Max. I said that about Volk. And I'm not saying that those guys were going to win against Ilya, but you say that those guys are still them, and then Ilya goes out and does that to them. You're like, fuck. That's,
I don't know.
It's like, who's stopping this guy?
Plus, like, where's Oliveira better than Ilya? Well, the jiu-jitsu. But, like, where is Oliveira, like, the much better fighter?
I don't know. Maybe the grappling department.
Is he much better, though?
I don't know. We haven't really seen Ilya's grappling, so it's really hard to say. I mean, he got that one choke against Bryce Mitchell. But outside of that, I mean, he had a little bit of a grappling exchange, but it was a short notice fight against Yusuf Zalal in his debut. And that was a really close fight, a little bit of some back and forth. But where Oliveira is the best, I think, is his grappling. But he's also relies so much on his toughness, his chin, willing to go forward, step into the fire, willing to take one and give one. But I don't know if Ilya is the guy you want to take one to give one with. That's just not it just doesn't seem like the guy you want to exchange punches with.
That power from Topuria is exactly what has fans and fighters split on who wins this fight. While Rogan acknowledged Oliveira's technical danger and significant reach advantage, many experts agree that Topuria's blend of power and precision could give Oliveira real trouble, especially if the Brazilian gets hit early. However, others argue that Oliveira's slick submissions and diverse offense give him an edge if the fight goes to the ground.
That's a dangerous fight. Marab calls it stupid to make Ilia Topuria fight Charles Oliveira before Islam Kachev.
How was that?
Ilia Topuria says he got promised that he would fight for the title if he vacates.
By who? The security guard outside his room?
Yeah, he kind of hinted that he got promised that. I feel like Charles, Ilia.
That'd be fire.
I think Ilia might batter him. The way Charles comes forward with those reckless knees.
And he's got the chin floating up high too.
Stands up tall like a really tall Muay Thai guy, and Ilia's like a low boxer. That's a dangerous fight for Charles.
Adding even more intrigue is Topuria's unbeaten record, 16 wins, no losses, which stands in stark contrast to Oliveira's 10 career defeats. Topuria and his supporters argue that this mental edge is crucial. They believe an undefeated fighter approaches every battle with more intensity, unwilling to accept failure. This sense of invincibility, combined with Topuria's recent performances, fuels the belief that he could become a two-division champion and perhaps even the pound-for-pound best in the UFC.
It's not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's 10.
Yeah.
Like, when you walk in with a guy that has 10 losses, the level of confidence is completely different. It's completely different than when you walk in with a guy that it's undefeated.
Right.
He's a dangerous guy in the striking, in the ground game, everywhere you look at him, he's a dangerous guy. He never takes a lose. That's a different mentality. You gotta have to kill him to give up. He's not gonna even give up. You gotta have to kill him. In the case of Charles, if he finds some adversity, he's gonna go to the ground. He's gonna sit and he's gonna be waiting like till you end up the fight. This is what I think. This is what I feel. This is what I see.
Following the announcement, Topuria took to social media to express his confidence, telling fans that on June 28th, he will become the lightweight champion. He also offered a backhanded apology to Oliveira in advance, hinting at the violence to come. Still, Oliveira isn't backing down. He remains one of the most beloved figures in the sport, known for his resilience and ability to bounce back stronger after losses. He stated that he isn't focused on the noise or the critics, just on delivering another standout performance and fulfilling his promise to reclaim the lightweight belt. Both men enter UFC 317 with something to prove. For Topuria, it's about showing he belongs among the elite in a new weight class and adding a second UFC title to his name. For Oliveira, it's a chance to silence doubters, reclaim his former glory, and cement his legacy as one of the greatest lightweights of all time.
Então, eu tô em busca do título. Eu não corro de ninguém, nunca corri, não vai ser agora que eu vou correr. Eu tô pronto para lutar contra qualquer um desses caras, né? Respeito todos eles, mas vou imprimir meu ritmo, meu jogo. Por que não, né? Se for pelo título, por que não lutar com o Topuria? Eu tô em busca do título, eu não quero fazer mais uma luta para poder esperar o título, não. Para mim isso não me interessa, eu quero lutar pelo título.
Let's just imagine that Ilia Topuria beats Charles do Bronx Oliveira. That's not a given. We know Charles is amazing. We know he's dangerous. We know he's got the most submissions, the most bonuses. He's a dangerous, aggressive son of a bitch, okay? And he's very technical as well. And he's a buzzsaw. He's going to walk forward, punches, knees, elbows, you name it. He'll lock on a submission quick as a flash, right? Super dangerous, okay? Beat Michael Chandler via decision. Before that, lost to Ahmed Sarukian. The man's about 36 years old. He's had a long career. He's had close to 50 fights. A lot of wear and tear on the body. A few losses along the way as well. Granted, that was the featherweight version. Of course, Ilia used to be a featherweight. This is his first fight at lightweight, so don't think there's going to be any gigantic size difference. And with the punching power...
While fans debate whether Sarukian was more deserving of the title shot, the reality is that Oliveira and Topuria are now locked in for what promises to be a thrilling showdown. The matchup offers a fascinating clash of styles. Topuria's precision and knockout power against Oliveira's veteran savvy and submission prowess. With only weeks to go, both fighters are training with urgency, knowing the stakes couldn't be higher. As fight night approaches, all eyes will be on this high-stakes battle between an undefeated rising star and a seasoned former champion looking to reclaim his crown. Whether it's the firepower in Oliveira's hands or the deadly timing in Topuria's fists, UFC 317 is shaping up to be one of the year's most explosive main events.